A warm welcome to the TMS Book Club viewers. My name is Sewela Langeni from Book Circle Capital. I've got a beautiful selection of books to feature for June. Come with me inside. The significance of Youth Month for South Africa is very deep. In fact, this year we are celebrating 47 years of Youth Month, remembering the youth of Soweto of 1976, where the students took to the streets to protest against the quality of education they were receiving from the government at the time. It was a terrible massacre where lots of lives were lost. And to this day, we continue to remember this month, and the specific day is June 16. Since then, a lot of change for South African youth, but there's still a lot of issues that the youth of this country face today. One of those issues is the reading culture. We know there's a lot of statistics out there which says that a lot of kids still cannot read for comprehension. And one of the things we want to address as Book Circle Capital is that, and we're intentional about the types of books we collect and curate. And I'm excited to talk to you about this book, and a new book that was recently published by Jakana, written by Thembi Kgatlana and Nicholas Kirnikis. Thembi Kgatlana is currently a striker for Banyana Banyana, the team that's going to play in the FIFA World Cup in July. She's written a book, actually, this is a kiddies version, but there's an adult version called You Strike a Rock. So Girls Don't Do That is targeted at more like a reader between the ages of 9 and 13, because it's a bit of a chapter book. It's her personal story growing up in Mohlakeng, where she was told that girls don't do that. Everything that she did, how she did her hair, playing soccer in the streets, she would often be told that girls don't do that. So she takes us through her story. It's a story of resilience, it's a story of hard work, because she had to balance her schoolwork and playing and making it through the ranks, the under 17 team until where she is right now. So this is a fun story where it shows kids that you can rise above whatever challenges you face, and don't let labels define you. So it's a must-have stories for South African kids to make them feel proud of who they are and to go after their dreams. So let's move on to the second book. So the next book we are reviewing for Youth Month is Nala Sings by Nonikiwe Mashologu. She is actually a director for an organization, Auto Foundation, that makes sure that it drives the culture of reading based in Cape Town, and helping South African libraries to stock content that children can read for pleasure. Nala Sings is based on a folk tale story that most of us will know and love. Tselane Lili Dimu. I'm sure most of you will have memories of remembering the song Tselane Ngwanake, Tselane Ngwanake. So Nala is based on her daughter, Noni's daughter, who has a beautiful voice, but then she needs that push to be able to have the security to sing. Like Tselane, she's banned to sing in certain places because her parents are afraid for her safety. And there's a Lidimu that everybody knows about that could be lurking around, but she decides to brave and go next to the river and sing. This is a story about nature. This is a story about rising above your fears and friendship, and making sure that we remember our heritage and enjoying our culture of storytelling. Before we move on to our next book for Youth Month, I just want to talk to you about this book, Nozincwadi, Mother of Books, by Mamgcina Mhlophe, a famous South African storyteller. This is her latest picture book, which we have copies of in the shop, published last year by New Africa Books. This is a beautiful story about a mother that doesn't know how to read, but then through her love of reading, she helps other children in the community to get books. She drives the whole community to raise funds to get books for children in school, and in turn they teach her how to read, which is a beautiful story to show us that it's never too late to fall in love with reading. Moving along to our third book on the list, It's Wonderful Me by Makosazana David Rudla. This book is about a girl that grows up in KwaZulu-Natal, raised by Umkhulu no Gogo at a village called Kwamagwaza in KZN. So this is a story about rural village life where she interacts with animals, where she eats food directly off the land, where she enjoys life with Umkhulu, understanding, what happens on a farm, milking cattle and tilling the soil and planting vegetables with Gogo and being silly, and she deliberately didn't give this little girl a name because it could be any little girl in South Africa that's being raised in the village. The book is just about, having a positive self-image for young South African girls, and just enjoying life and having that confidence to say wherever you grow up, your life is worth enjoying and it's worth living. Our next book is Mpumi's Feast of Love from Lebohang Masango, a well-known children's book author that first started her book with Mpumi's Magic Beads. She then went on to write Mpumi and Jabu's Magical Day, What Does Mpumi Wear, and another one, What Does Mpumi Eat, which she published last year. Her latest book is Mpumi's Feast of Love, which is a book I think that was written in light of COVID-19 that we've just recently recovered from. Mpumi this time has a beautiful relationship with Gogo where they share a bond around cooking and baking together and sharing family recipes. Unfortunately, an event happens and Gogo is no longer in Mpumi's life, and then Mpumi needs to then find out how life is like without her beloved Gogo. This book is meant to help children to understand grief and children to cope with loss of loved ones. There's actually a page at the end where there's a psychologist, Shannon O'Brien, talks through what are some of the things you could do to tell children when somebody has passed away, dealing with grief and caring for caregivers. But all of this is done beautifully, around the issue of food and celebrating a sense of community and love together. And last but not least is Making Friends with Feelings, which is a big surprise because it's a book written by me and illustrated by Subi Bosa, a well-known illustrator in the children's book space. This is a project that has been long in my heart. It's inspired by my two sons, addressing the issue of feelings, especially with a boy child. As we would know, there's some sayings where we will hear words like boys don't cry, which do not help us because children have a lot of feelings that they would like to express. And this book is based on a boy called Lubabalo, who has an imaginary friend called Lesedi that helps him understand, working out his feelings, because there's feelings of being sad, but there's also feelings of being happy. And this book is on the shelves as well from this month of June, the Youth Month. And I hope that children all over the country will enjoy it and parents will read it to them. This has been our selection for Youth Month, including these last two books that celebrate Youth Month, that celebrate South African youth, South African children, driving the culture of reading.